And we're so happy to be here with Denis Weil, the director of the Israel Museum. Hello, and nice to see you, and thanks for your time.
Thank you for coming.
So what's it like for you? I know you've already been here for about a year. What has the experience been like for you? Is it kind of a childhood dream? Because I know you have family connection to this museum.
Yeah, the museum played an important part of my whole life and the life of my family. So I am really excited about being here. When I came, obviously we were just at the end of COVID. Obviously we have an amazing return of visitors. We are back at 90% of visitors before COVID. So that was really wonderful to see, and obviously it lifted up spirits of everybody in the museum. And it's just nice to see a full museum.
So explain your family connection. Now you're originally from Switzerland, but you have a family connection to this museum. Explain that.
Yeah, so my mother was very enthused by the museum, and she founded the Swiss Friends of the Israel Museum in the early 80s, late 70s. And what she loved, and what I think is actually what Teddy Kollek also felt was important, and is this idea that the Israel Museum brings the cultures of the world to Israel, and the culture of Israel and the Jewish people to the world. And if you think again back to our visitor numbers, we do half-half. So for the local people, we bring the cultures from all over the world. We are a universal museum. Behind us is the African Art Gallery that leads into the Asian Art Gallery, leads into the American Gallery. And that's where all the world, and the art wing obviously also has a lot of world cultures. And then on this side, we have the Jewish Life and Art wing that is the biggest Jewish museum in the world. And more importantly, is the only Jewish museum in the world that actually has objects from every Jewish culture in the diaspora over the last 2,000 years.
Explain why, moving forward into the next generation of museum goers, it's important to combine art with innovation and technology.
What's most important for museums today is access and engagement. And what that means is providing access to the collection and getting a lot of the collection to be seen. And engagement is finding a broader audience. So we have a collection of 500,000 pieces, which is huge for museum purposes. And we lend pieces to about 11 to 15 museums a year in Israel, 30 in the world. But the ones in Israel, we give more than one piece. It's more like 20 or 30%. But for the smaller museums, they really rely on our collection as a way to establish exhibitions. And we think that's as important as this museum, because to bring art and culture into the periphery.
Right. We're definitely in a challenging time, not too far away from the museum. Do you think this could usher in a new generation of thought leaders and a new normal down the line?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it plays well to the role we have always taken. So we have accompanied the state for 58 years of the 75 years, and the initial impetus to the museum actually, I don't know if it's an urban tale or true, but it's a story that is being told. This was Marc Chagall who told Teddy Kollek, when he was still assistant to the Prime Minister, that he needed to build an international museum, because in order to build a modern state, you need to have an international museum. You can't just have Jewish ethnography objects, which was the Bezalel Museum had. And to a certain extent, this is what we still do today. A museum is very different. We're actually more of a museum park than a museum, because we have 6 museums on here, from Shrine of the Book, the Art Garden, Fine Arts, Jewish Life, Archaeology, and then our youth wing. But everybody who comes here, because we are on a hill, and it's interesting that you buy your ticket at the bottom of the hill, and then you have to walk up the hill, and you are in nature, that they feel it's a place of respite. And also our architecture, we don't normally, traditional museums look like a temple. They have a very big portal, and the idea is that to make you feel small, that you have to be quiet. Here we have boxes that connect to each other, and you can choose where you go. So it's very democratic, very open, and very kind of inspiring as such. So I think, and we saw it at the demonstration. So the demonstration at the Knesset were on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock for several weeks. And by 10 o'clock when we opened, we had hundreds of people coming with their flags to go first to the museum and then to the demonstration. We actually had to build a dedicated wardrobe for flags, because we didn't allow flags in the galleries. But so there is a clear connection.
Explain the piece that speaks to you particularly right now, that expresses the times we're living in.
Yeah, so right now I think our sculpture in the oxy paint sculpture called Inversion in our art garden is one of my favorite. It's an upside down tree out of metal, very big, probably 10, 15 meters high. And I think it's so appropriate for today because I think the world is upside down, and obviously Israel also has some challenges that are upside down. But what is amazing when you look at the tree, you actually see that upside down gives you new perspectives, which is one of the key roles of a museum. And the new perspective I got out of that tree is that actually the inverse the tree is much more stable because the branches go much further out than the roots. So it is in a very windy place and we don't have to worry about it falling over because it's an upside down tree is actually more stable than another tree.
Thank you so much for your time, and
You're
it's
welcome.
a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for coming.
Keep
And
up the good work.
can I give you a tour a little
Yes,
bit?
please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.